Hi, thanks for watching today. What we're going to cover on this video is the tax auction calendar for 2023, and we're going to show you this using a new tool in Parcel Fair, and also talk about what different states do, counties, and what's for sale. This is, I'll probably say this 100 times in the video, but this is a moving target. All these dates and counties and states, they're announcing auctions right now, but a lot of them move, and a lot of them maybe the announcements are a bit loose until we get closer to it. So we're going to show you what we know right now, and remember, this changes literally daily as we add more auctions. So let's talk about how you can look at auctions, plan your year out, and know what you're investing in. So jumping right in. Let's talk about what's for sale in a tax auction. I just want to level set on some of the terminology that you probably get in a lot of our videos, but let's just talk about tax liens are one type of tax auction. And they're basically selling a lien on the property, not the actual property. A tax lien is typically you're going to collect these and maybe foreclose on them or maybe just get interest later, and it depends on the state. Again, tax liens in every state that sells them have subtle differences from state to state, whether it's what rights you get as a lien holder, whether you can foreclose or not, what the redemption laws are, the percent of the interest rate. So be sure that you learn the laws in the states that you invest in. Tax deeds are a totally different type of purchase that you're going to make at a tax auction. When they're selling a tax deed, it may have a redemption period. So you think you've bought the property, but not so fast. It could be anything from 10 days to several years of redemption, where the owner could come back and redeem the property by paying their back taxes plus interest and fees and other things. So in some cases, a tax deed is going to include ownership rights to the property. It might allow you to rent it, do preservation improvements, maybe even sell something, have something you can actually sell in a tax deed. But again, just like tax liens, all states are different. Be sure to learn the laws in the states you invest in, or else you don't know what you're buying. So it's just that simple. So be sure that you learn the nuances between states. I'm through foreclosures in here specifically because several states sort of lump tax sales with their foreclosure sales and run them on the same websites and platforms and schedules. So we've started putting these into Parcel Fair for states like Florida and Indiana. Sometimes these foreclosures come out of tax reasons why they're foreclosed, and other times they're foreclosed for given any number of reasons why it's in a foreclosure sale. And again, they're just often included in the same category as tax sales for some of these states, like Florida and Indiana are great examples. So now that we know what we're talking about terminology-wise, what is in a tax auction, what are you not buying in a tax auction? What's not for sale? So when you hear us on our videos and anywhere on the web, wherever you're getting your education on tax investing, you will definitely hear the word over-the-counter tax properties thrown out there. These are not in tax auctions. In fact, they're tax liens, deeds, or foreclosures that are bought outside of the auctions because they're typically the leftovers from the auctions. They're things that did go to an auction last month, last year, or sometime in the past, and since no one purchased it, it was left over, and now the state or the county is trying to find another way to sell that lien or deed or foreclosure. Most of these over-the-counter properties have year-round availability, meaning there is no off-season. You can kind of invest around the calendar. I would say the exception to the rule is that some states or counties do what they call close the books on their over-the-counter sales, and they might do this during their annual tax sales. So, for example, there's counties in Arizona that during the month of February, or even maybe a couple months leading up to the month of February, they will actually close the books and stop selling over-the-counter tax liens because they're essentially waiting for the tax sale, and then they'll reopen the books about a few weeks or a month later after the tax sale. So it's just a temporary thing every year where you might see that happen. So let's talk about some potential sources where you would get over-the-counter tax properties. The state might sell them. Alabama sells tax deeds and tax certificates from the Department of Revenue. Arkansas sells tax deeds, and Mississippi as well. Sometimes the county will sell them over the counter. Arizona, Florida, Maryland are examples where you would buy a tax lien, or in Florida's case, in Arizona, maybe a tax deed. You could buy it over the counter directly from the county. And then sort of an off case, a little bit of a outlier, is the city. My example here would be land banks. Sometimes a land bank is a city-based organization where the city gets to decide if a property sells to the land bank or not. So that's a good example of when you buy an over-the-counter property from a city. And really, I would just note they're a great way to invest during the auction off-season. We just did a series of videos at the end of 2022 that covered several states and how to shop in the off-season. It pretty much just went over the over-the-counter availability in those states. So now let's loop back and talk about the tax auction season, because this video is about the tax auction calendar. So I hate it so many times when I get asked questions like this. The answer always starts with, it depends. So let's just go ahead and say, it depends. Some states have annual tax auctions, and that would be like once per county per year. So like a Jefferson, Birmingham, and Alabama would have one tax sale or tax lien auction per year. So for example, Arizona, they do their tax lien auctions in February. It's just every year in February you count on the Arizona counties having their tax lien auctions. Alabama does tax liens in some counties and tax certificates in others. Those sales span from April to June. And then Arkansas is a great example. It's tax deed auctions, but ever since we've been following Arkansas, it's changed every year. It's wildly changed what the schedule is. But for 2023, it looks like July through September is what they're going with. So then you have this other pattern where states might have tax sales, tax auctions more than once per year. So an example would be Mississippi tax lien auctions. They're still seasonal because they have a handful of counties doing a spring auction, and every county participates in the fall auction. All 88 counties in the fall auction, which is the last Monday in August. But then some of them have a spring auction too. Florida is going to be one of your strangest states because they have not only tax lien auctions once per year, which is the end of June, early July timeframe. They also have tax deed and foreclosure auctions occurring year-round in most counties. And those can happen multiple times per month in a single county. And so they're going to be smaller auctions that could have anywhere between 1 and 10, 20 properties. So they're not your big annual sales, but they're small auctions that are worth tracking. Indiana is another great example. We've been working a ton in Indiana for Parcel Fair over the past year to get it all of their investment opportunities onto the site. So they have a fall season, a spring season, and actually a monthly foreclosure auction, multiple per county year-round. So it's all over the place. There's almost always some type of tax auction in Indiana going on. Okay, so I think we've level set and talked about the overview. So let's get into something more specific. And the first thing I want to show you, if you've never used Parcel Fair, this is our homepage. And we do numerous states for tax investing research. But there's a new option called the auction calendar that we just added. We've tried to put it in places where you'll trip over it. So this big purple button on the front page. But anywhere on the website, you can see it in the auction calendar, in the drop-down list at the top where these tools are. So if we go to auction calendar, we're immediately looking at Alabama. We just defaulted to that because alphabetically it's the first one. So we do have a lot of announcements for Alabama of auctions that are coming up, but we only have a few loaded so far. Walker, Calhoun, and Cherokee, St. Clair. By the time you see this video, there could be more. We're literally immediately after this video going to be working on more of these. So moving target, you're going to see these start to light up as the lists become available. I tell you, it's a broken record. I have auction dates are subject to change here at the top of the page even. So let's just hit another state. Let's check out Arizona because I told you that February is auction season for Arizona's tax liens. And so now you can see several different counties have properties here ready to look at. Arkansas is going to be an interesting one. We mentioned a minute ago, July through September. None of the lists are released yet, but we do have the counties. So let's go ahead and just say, hey, these are penciled in on the calendar, and if they change, this page will change. Florida is really fun. A lot of these are complete already for the year. So let's just go down to some of these that are upcoming. We have the tax deed auctions just scattered across the calendar, and you can see they just keep going all the way into March and beyond. And this calendar will keep rolling throughout the year. So you can see more and more Florida tax deed auctions. When we get closer to June, July, you'll see the tax lien auctions as well on the calendar. Let's check out another state. Indiana, this one's great. These are foreclosure auctions for the most part, but most of these have properties announced and are available to click. You can research all of these, and then you'll see every once in a while a cert auction as well. These are certificate auctions in the mix, so you can see both on the same calendar here. And this calendar, of course, stretches out to March and beyond. Let's jump over to Mississippi. This one's kind of funny. We just used last year's auctions as a baseline and predicted what this year's auctions would be, but they're all coming soon. We have no lists published yet. Still good for planning. And then Tennessee, we just have barely started the year in Tennessee. We only have the Knox winter auction and then the rebid auction so far. You should expect to see this page start to fill out as we go. And we'll be adding Maryland and some other states to this list as we get their auctions too. But this is what we have so far. So if you're thinking about some of these auctions, let's talk about Arizona real quick. Some of these lien auctions are coming up very soon. So if you click View Properties, it would take you to the map like this. And what you're looking at are basically the properties that are coming up in the auction. And earlier when we were talking here, we talked about the difference in over-the-counter properties versus auction. When we're looking at Parcel Fair, you're going to see auction properties show up in this yellow, orange, or gold border. So it is a visual cue to see the auction properties. Whereas if you see like a tax lien that is over-the-counter, it appears in this green to help you out. 1989, that is ancient. So as you're scanning the map like this, you can quickly rule out or focus on auctions versus over-the-counter. And to save you more time, Parcel Fair has another filter that you may not know about. Over here, you can actually look at just over-the-counters or just upcoming auctions if you prefer. So if we just want to say auction only, I'm going to say upcoming auction and redo that map search. And it still should be a ton of properties. Yeah, we're looking at 3,000 properties still for that auction. So it gives you an idea of what you're seeing in Arizona. On the right-hand side, we see a few previews for these properties that are on the map. If you want to zoom in on one, it's just pretty easy. All you do is click the Find on Map, and it highlights the property, selects it, and we'll scoot the map over for you so you can go to the property. And let's do this one. So yeah, we've honed in on a single property, so let's go look at the report card for it. It's going to give you a lot more information about the property, the legal description, what we know about the property's location, and the street view for Google. You could do a click on this for a panoramic view and take a look around at the property area. And then probably most importantly, this will give you links. Wow, there's a lot of links for this property. Everything you need to go bid on this property. You can register for the tax sale here. You can go to the information page for it. You can even pre-bid on the parcel. You can see the list where we got it from. And then, of course, the dates and times and locations and taxes. It's just a lot of information here to let you know how to go bid on this property. Okay, we're just going to jump on the map immediately. Now we have jumped to St. Lucie, Florida. So, again, another place where we have a mix of auction and over-the-counter properties. So these green properties are going to be over-the-counter tax liens. And then we can, of course, take a look at these yellow properties being the tax deeds. I'm sorry, they are tax deeds and a tax auction, so we'll clarify that. But basically, it's the same story here. You're looking at where to buy the property, what the taxes are due, how to register, when is the sale, and where's the list for the auction. So everything you need to know right there to go bid on the property. And there's all the research links that you see in Parcel Fair elsewhere. And we'll just keep moving so I don't lose you guys on this one. So jumping to another state, let's take a look at Indiana. We're looking at Fulton County, which has they have foreclosure sales and a tax certificate sale coming up this spring. So we're just doing the same process here. We're taking a look at properties from a bird's eye view. It's a vacant lot right here. We can use the side over here and find something that may have a structure on it. That's actually a tax deed. You can see that tax auction is passed, unfortunately, so we'll keep moving. Yep, plenty of other properties and options here. Let's just go with the details on this one. I chose one without a street view, of course. Let's pick one that we can actually see. Nope, the Google car did not take a picture of that one either. So now we're just... okay, we'll just go without. So the Google Streetcar doesn't go everywhere, so we can't always have street view, but we can have a nice satellite view. But I guess the big takeaway is here we are talking about the Fulton Cert Auction, which is in the Commissioner's Meeting Room on February 23rd. And we have the taxes due, the date, how to register, and where the list is, all in one place. So again, this is all coming back to this tax auction calendar, and that gives you the jumping off point to go look at what are in these auctions. So I really hope you find this useful. I think this is a great way, even just for me, to get my head around what's coming up, how to plan the auction season. But we love feedback. Please engage us on our contact form, on the YouTube comments. And I would also stress one more thing. Not only are these auctions moving targets, these dates can move, but we're always adding. And the way we decide what to add next is because someone asks for it. Sometimes we just stumble upon these, but typically we go looking for new counties, new states, new opportunities based on the demand from our users. So please let us know if you're looking for an auction and don't see it. Maybe that we haven't gotten to it yet, or maybe that we just need someone to poke us to go tackle that one. So again, talk to us. We love to have feedback and understand what your needs are. So again, hope this was useful, and let's start a conversation, and have a great day.